Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Chitwood, Assistant Managing Editor for Audience at TheWrap. We are thrilled to have you for our 2022 Emmys Award screening of the Apple TV Plus original series, The After Party, with creator and director Chris Miller and actors Ben Schwartz and Zoe Chao. We're going to be showing you a trailer, and then we'll get right into a conversation with our guests. To our audience, please participate in the live chat of the stream, share your thoughts, your theories, which theories didn't pan out, and let us know where you're tuning in from. So let's take a look at The After Party.
Hey, party people! Big ups to Hill Mount High. We started at the upper middle, and now we here. But for tonight, Mikasa I mean, you know how the rest of that goes. Whoa! We're gonna live forever!
How did this all go so wrong?
Pop star, actor, and celebrity humanitarian Xavier was found dead tonight. His body discovered on the cliff during an after party for his high school reunion.
This is a murder.
What?
Any one of you could be the murderer. And I want to hear your story. The same thing could happen, but you see it in a different way. I want to hear your mind moving.
Did you see her hair? It looks like she made out with a tornado. It's just Jewish hair.
So much volume.
My goal is to find out who killed Xavier. Now, you all went to your high school reunion for what? Second chances at life? Love? Something else? I would just love it if you could just skip to the part where the murder happened.
I'm telling you a story here. I'm building character arcs, dynamics.
Everybody here hated Xavier.
He's the worst. I'm gonna have sex with your ex.
Dude, 6 years old.
Daddy, I love him.
Everyone seems to think you did it.
Everyone. It's all anyone's talking about. Sorry, you're you. That's not fun.
Any one of us could snap.
What? Who?
Whoa!
You want to confess to a murder? Because we need to know who killed him tonight. Bam.
Everybody seems to be hiding something.
What is going on?
We're done here.
Yeah, but you didn't even know that was fake, and you straight up just chopped off his head.
Remember that.
And it is now my absolute pleasure to introduce Chris Miller, Ben Schwartz, and Zoe Chao. How are you guys?
Hi.
Doing great.
We are going to be diving deep into spoiler territory. So to our audience out there, if you have not seen The After Party, please go binge it as quickly as possible and then come back. But we will be talking spoilers in this discussion. So that is a fair warning up top.
Adam, does it make sense to leave a 3.5 hour or 4 hour gap right now so everybody can watch all the episodes?
Yes. Let's hold. We're going to hold right here.
Okay. Hold for 3.5, 4.
Yeah.
And we're back. That was great.
Back.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed it.
What an
Life
ending,
wasn't
Chris.
easy.
What an ending.
Yes.
Whew. Who saw that coming?
Didn't see it coming.
Well, to that end, I wanted to kick off by talking about theories because this is a show that very quickly sparked Reddit threads with people theorizing about who the killer was. Chris, I know you and Phil are well known for throwing in tons of Easter eggs and stuff, and this show is no different. If you go back and watch this show, you will notice so many things that you missed. But I'm curious for you guys, when did you first notice that the Reddit community and social media was starting to kind of play detective on their own and try and figure out what was going on each week?
It was pretty early on. It definitely grew in the first couple of weeks that the show came on the air, and I wasn't really tracking it that much until somebody like hit me to it a few weeks down the road. And the interesting thing is that the show is great because you can watch it just casually like a regular human being, or if you're the type of person that likes to rewatch things and obsess over things, you can watch and look for little details and freeze frame, and there's all sorts of stuff hidden in there, and it really meant that a wild community of people who were really passionate about the show were able to, discuss even the tiniest details, some of which had clues in them, and some of them they were just building things out of nothing, which was fascinating.
Did you guys start lurking on those Reddit threads throughout the season as it came to your attention?
Chris, you're a lurker. That's your whole thing.
I lurk. I always lurk. I know no other gear than lurk. I started lurking because I wanted to see how many people were going to figure it out and what we needed to do to sort of throw chum in the water, which we did. We did have the Apple account leak a fake picture that we put of Zoe with a blonde wig on, and then delete it 15 minutes later as though it was an accident.
That blew my mind when you told me that. And I barely remember putting that wig on.
Now the fans will never trust you again.
I know, really. We kind of blew it, but I think they want to trust and they want to love, and we're here to love.
To be fair, Chris, when you graduated Dartmouth, when you graduated Dartmouth, your superlatives were untrustworthy lurker. That was like his whole thing.
I'm the absolute worst. The absolute worst.
Well, so what was your favorite Reddit theory that popped up? I mean, obviously there were people theorizing on like who did it and who had done it, but people were really picking apart like just the most minuscule aspects.
One of my favorites was the idea that Walt was Xavier in disguise.
Oh yes.
What?
My friend was a big proponent of that.
That's
my friend Henry thought that it was that he faked his own death and then he dressed up as Walt, but putting all this makeup on for movie stuff. And that way he could see everybody else's lives and show them that they're assholes too. Like, look at, you think you're so great. Look at all these things. And he's like, and then at the end, the big reveal was going to be the Mission Impossible takeoff and reveal that it was Xavier the whole time. And his whole big thing at the end was going to be, my dad had a great one where he didn't trust Zoe and Ike's kid. He's like, something's up with that kid. That kid is going to, that kid was the killer. He's like, he's like, you don't see it coming. And I know, like, you know, Chris and Phil, they're very smart. They're going to get you where you don't see it coming. So the whole time when my own father thought it was Zoe and Ike's kid for the entire time until the last day. And he goes, holy shit. It was great.
That's incredible.
Your dad's great.
I wanted to share one theory that popped up on the Reddit thread, Ben, for your episode. This I thought was very fun. This Redditor said it could definitely not be Jasper because he uses an iPhone, and Apple does not let bad guys use iPhones. Which was funny because when you get to the end, the phone becomes a major tell. Like that's the hallmark of the killer there.
Yeah, we had to get special permission to use a non-iPhone, which we did use with Walt. We had Walt use a generic phone as a way to sort of, again, mislead the audience into thinking maybe Walt was the killer because he was the only one that didn't use an iPhone. And that theory that Ryan Johnson had put out there, because it was true that they didn't like having villains using Apple products in shows and movies, was out there, and we thought, oh, we definitely should use this to our advantage.
No stone left unturned.
I love that. Jasper's original phone was going to be a phone that was attached to a knife, and then Chris is like, I think people like kind of get it. Maybe he's a killer. I'm like, all right, it seems pretty funny if I'm like Crocodile Dundee and my phone is like this, but then Chris persuaded me against it, which is very smart.
Well, early on, Zoe and Ben, like you were two of the kind of prime suspects, and I'm curious, like if that got back to you and how you guys were feeling about that as the season was rolling out, and kind of the fun you may have had playing with that when you were in production, and you know the guessing game that would play out until the end of the season.
I found out about the whole Reddit world and after party when I was at a party and someone just like lunged for me and was like, I thought it was you. And yeah, and so that was the first time I became aware that she she was like, we go back and we watch it. We've watched each episode 3 times, and my relationship with my husband has gotten a lot better through
bringing people together. This show,
and I'm like, great. But she was like, I could have sworn it was you. But yeah, that was when I got keyed into everything.
Yeah,
a lot of my friends thought it was Zoe.
Yeah, Zoe was definitely one of the prime suspects. I think
Zoe.
It's partially because, Anik, is in love with her, and it would feel like the person you would least suspect. So people are always going to go like, well, the person I least suspect is that. And then there's a lot of things along the way where she's behaving in ways that don't make sense that you later understand in her episode why she's doing them. And so I think people are like, there's something up with her. There's something up with her. There's more to this than you think. And I think, the daughter also was a pretty popular one. There was a theory, because her name was Maggie, that it was a reference to Who Shot Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, because it was Maggie who accidentally shot Mr. Burns, and that the whole thing was going to be, it was the kid and it was an accident. And then Walt and Jasper would say about, Reddit really had Jasper figured out, but a lot of people thought it was Jasper and Zoe working together in concert.
Oh,
yeah. They're like, it had to be a 2-person job. A lot of people felt that way.
Wow.
Trained by the
I'd
Screen
love
franchise.
to collaborate with you, Ben.
Oh yeah, Zoe and I are trying to collaborate as killers on the project. So if you guys want to do it, like we're really into a Reservoir Dogs where it's Zoe and I and not the whole thing. That's like the whole thing.
Well, Chris, I know this was really meticulously planned out, and I know, Ben, when you were approached for the role, Chris told you that you would be the killer. Was there any point during production or during reading these Reddit theories where you thought, maybe it should have been this person, or maybe it would have been fun to go with that one? Was there a theory that you almost wish might have been true?
I rarely get to do interviews with Chris, so I'm excited to hear a lot of these answers.
The only thing that I actually wish that we had done was not put one of the coded clues telling people that it wasn't Zoe, because I think once that clue came out, there was a huge, I would say the minority of like 30 to 40% of the people thought it was Zoe. And once that clue came out and it was on Reddit, it was like, nope, can't be her, because this clue told us it wasn't. And I was like, we'd only not done that one, then it would have stayed split through the rest of the season. That's literally my only regret about the whole season.
Yeah.
But we won't make that mistake in season 2, I'll tell you what.
Whoa.
Already planning the marketing campaign for season 2.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not allowed to be in season 2, but I am going to be in the marketing campaign. I'm going to be like,
Ben's in charge.
I'm going to be the VO. Yeah. I'm in charge of Apple
theories
marketing.
each week from jail in character, thinking what he thinks.
I'll do my podcast. It's me doing a podcast from jail. It's perfect. Behind bars, but it's me singing bars. Oh my goodness, Chris, why are we not doing this?
It's not too late, Ben. It's not too late.
I will always remember the moment when after season 1 ended, and we've already talked about it with the killers. We talked about it, but it's like I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be funny to Chris? Like, wouldn't it be funny if like second season, like someone like whoever's on the case is like, the only way to find a killer is to get inside a killer's head. And then I roll out like Hannibal Lecter, totally masked. And then like you take off my mask and I start singing. And Chris laughed. He's like, haha, of course not. Thank you so much for this season. I was like, great, really fun. Take care. But we had a very good laugh. And then of course not.
Immediately shut down.
Yeah, like of course it was. What an insane pitch.
I would love that, especially if it was on one of those electric scooter things instead of being wheeled out. You're wheeling yourself around.
I'm chained to him. But I'm chained, so I can't like get off it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Walt was a fan favorite for the killer, but I do love the idea that no, he just like people don't remember. Like there's nothing more going on behind there. It's that he just wants to be seen, but he's not going to kill anybody to do it. But
he was that Jamie Demetriou was really very talented fellow, and I would say of all of the cast members, he made the most cast break during the shots where they would laugh and mess up the shot because it was too funny.
He doesn't have to say anything. It's so rare to find an actor that he doesn't even have to say anything, and he can get Zoe and I to die laughing. He'll trip over something in the background, and you'll just see the tail end of it, and it's so funny. He's such a gifted comedian that all he has to do is like trip and move, and it's over. Game over for all of us. He's so funny.
It's so true. We would, have these setups where we would all be in, the different parts of the stage, and it would be on someone else, and Jamie was barely in the frame, and you'd see him do something with the spoon that was so full and committed that it would be really hard not to want to focus in on that. Every second he filled to the fullest.
It's incredible.
There's a funny Easter egg also that Chris and the writers did, where every episode is the title of the character. So first episode is Anik, second episode is Brett, and then it's Jasper and all those things. Zoe's episode is Zoe. For Walt's episode, they didn't even name it after Walt. They call it High School. I remember when I got that script and read it, I texted Chris and I was like, this is one of the funniest inside. That's such a funny bit that even in his own episode, it's not named after him. The only episode like that. I thought it was so funny.
Or a shot in the episode will start on Walt and then follow.
He's not even the protagonist of his own story.
Yeah.
It's Where's Waldo?
And speaking to like the theorizing and the fans got really into it each week. And, I think the weekly release of this really helps that. And I was curious, Chris, as you were developing this project and you were trying to find the right home and the right streamer, was it important to you that a show like this, a mystery whodunit, roll out weekly, or was there a consideration there for all at once?
It was definitely my preference, and when I was pitching the show, it was definitely part of the pitch and the presentation, and part of the reason why Apple was a great fit for it, because their model was flexible, and their preferred method was to release 3 episodes and then go weekly, and that was the version that I wanted, ideally, because I thought you really get the concept of the show after seeing a few episodes. Just seeing one on its own doesn't really tell you how each episode is its own different genre, and everybody's telling their own different version of the story, and they're all interconnected. And so the idea that you drop the first 3, that you go, okay, I get what this is, and now I'm excited to see what it is. But having those weeks for people to theorize and argue with each other and build an online community and build a community amongst your friends was part of the fun, because if it all dropped on one day, then some people would have it all solved on the first day, and some people wouldn't, and you would never want to talk to anybody because you're like, where are you? I don't want to say. In this way, you could have people could really have a community in the real world about it, and it made it so much more fun.
I feel like it also allowed word of mouth to build as well, because it allowed people to catch up without it being like, oh, like the killer was spoiled to me on Twitter on Saturday or whatever.
Yeah.
It's true, although there's a bunch of people, I would say, of the under 25s that really wanted to wait until the last week, and were like, if I can't binge it, I don't want to know, because I don't want to start and then feel frustrated that I can't keep watching it. And so they're like, wake me when it's the last week. And then
they slept for 6 weeks straight. They slept for 6 weeks straight. Finally was awakened the last week.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, oh, okay, let's do this. Here we go.
Like Doc Brown.
Yeah.
This was also the first show for me where the through line was so interesting and exciting that I would get weekly texts from people being like, this is what I think is going to happen. Okay. And all my friends would be texting me like, I think this person the killer, and this is why. These are the things I noticed. I've never been on a show that people follow the plot as much as this. And it was really exciting, because then when the last week came out, I remember before the last episode came out, I was so excited for people to find out who it was, because I hadn't told my girlfriend, I hadn't told my dad or my agents, my managers. And so the reveal also of people not expecting this to happen and then it to happen, I was so excited. And also all my friends who were texting and being like, Okay, so I think it's Zoe, and this is exactly why. That paint wasn't paint on her hands. And so it was really exciting to be a part of a show that had a through line that was so exciting that it's not just you're getting comedy and you're getting all these wonderful things, but also like it is a straight up murder mystery.
Totally. I can't believe how many times I forgot who the murderer was. I read the script before, before we started, and then we acted out the scripts. And every time it would be upon us, I was like, oh, right. Damn it. Because, you really fall in love with all these people. And it's also cool because you do, there is a world in which any one of us had done this murder. We all had motives, or there was a world in which we all participated in this one in killing Xavier. So it's so cool that there were a lot of viable options. And
I think is fun about it is that each episode, is like an empathy machine for each character. Yeah. So you start the character feeling one way about them, and then but even in everybody, by the end, you're like, I hope that person didn't do it because I like them and I like and I'm rooting for them now. And then it was it's really bittersweet when it turns out to be Jasper, because you really love him because he's such a sweet, positive guy, and he's so funny. Like, no, I don't want it to be him. I want it to be someone else. It has to be someone else.
Yeah. Well, and Zoe, you have this really great performance in that final episode when, Ben is finally found out, and it cuts to this reaction shot of you, and there's so much sadness on your face, and it's not anger or disgust at Jasper. It's just sadness for what this guy has done. And I was curious about the experience of shooting that scene for both of you guys, but also, for Zoe reacting to this, and she thinks it's going to be Brett maybe, and Anik maybe, and it's Jasper, and she's so just disappointed, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Ben's performance too. It's so heartbreaking that just being in that room and shooting that scene over a couple of days it was kind of torturous because you really, I really did. You love Jasper so much. He is like the hypest hype man you could. You want a best friend like Jasper, and what's so beautiful about there's that romantic relation, that bromance between Jasper and Anik is such a lovely thread to follow. And I mean, I think Chris did such a brilliant job. By the time we were all there shooting the big reveal, like all the feelings were just naturally there, present, and just watching Ben have to turn himself in, had to, have to reveal himself is just really gutting, because I didn't want anyone to have done it. I wanted Xavier to have slipped. And, that was like round 2 of, I'd known for such a long time, but I still was bummed. And that's a testament to the story and these characters, and then the performers who filled these characters out. And so that was all real emotion. I was at that point totally lost track of time, place, who I was. Like, was I Zoe in this? So like I wasn't acting. I think I was pretty much feeling everything.
Well, yeah, it was like a very grueling several days that we were shooting. There's like 11 people in a room, like while the mystery is being revealed. But it really was Zoe and Ben and Sam who were anchoring that moment emotionally, because you're trying to do 2 things at once, where you're giving the audience the catharsis of like, we solved it, and everybody else is jumping up and down and cheering and laughing and like pumping their fists and so excited. And meanwhile, Zoe and Ben and Sam are all, the anchor of the scene, letting you feel the reality of it and the sadness that's really behind the catharsis and joy of having it all be proven. And so having to try to do both of those things at the exact same time was a really challenging thing, but thankfully we had some super talented actors to pull it off.
Ben,
it's also a testament Oh, for me, it was. I phoned it in from the first. No,
You just went full
I don't even remember.
Scooby Doo, just ripping the mask.
Oh yeah. No, for me, when you're acting, Zoe, tell me if you do this. And Chris took an acting class as well and was an improviser, so maybe he has intel on this as well. But as an actor, for me, when I'm like, when I get a script, I oftentimes will mark like, oh shit, okay, when is that scene? That scene is 2 weeks from now. Okay, I'm gonna know that in 2 weeks I'm gonna be so prepared for this scene. Like, you kind of remember the ones that are enormous to you. Like, all my musical numbers, I knew exactly what day we were filming them. And this confession to me was such an important thing because all of us were working so hard. We loved the show so much. And if you look at everybody's episode, everybody's working their butt off. Ike is doing stunts, you know what I mean? And like, I had these musical numbers. And so you just want to make the show as good as it possibly could be. And I feel like if that last scene, if we could all pull it together and make the reveal and the confession, all these things, all of us working in tandem, if it worked and we landed the plane, then we did it. We did this show that like we had so much fun shooting and we landed it. And so I felt like there's a lot of pressure, but it's a testament to how good of an actress Zoe is, who is a movie star already and is filming everything. And all I had to do is look at her to start. So like, they look at me and they say, they realize it's me. I'm kind of shocked. And then all I did as an actor was look to Zoe. And I even told her after she did it a couple of times how much it meant to me that she did this. But I looked to her and she was almost crying. She was like so sad that Jasper's life, she knew it before Jasper, that his life is over. That's it. It's over. He's basically dead too. Like, he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life, So I would look at Zoe and she'd be really starting to like almost break, and it would make me start to cry. So at the beginning of a lot of those takes, I'm already in a place of like these people don't understand me. This is the reason why this happened. I love whenever I watch confessionals, and Chris did an incredible job with this, I love confessionals and those murder mysteries. I love them the most when they're from a person who doesn't get why everybody doesn't understand why he did this. I'm not the crazy one here. Look what Xavier did to me in my life. Look at the things I've had to go through. So I love the idea when it's like, no, you don't understand. This is why it happened. And so I really wanted to be as truthful and emotional, and Chris did an amazing job in directing, in that we did a bunch that were very emotional and crying during it. Then we did a bunch where we're like really upset. And then we did a bunch that were a little unhinged. And with Lord and Miller projects and Chris directing the scene, I never felt for a second that I wasn't going to be taken care of. I could take any risk I wanted, and I could be as, crying or as angry, and he will weave them together and make a performance that makes sense for the scene. So it was magic. And looking at Zoe was the way I started every single take. And then I would look at Sam, who was looking at me like a best friend and really sad. And it would get me to an emotional place to just do the words. But I was really excited for that scene. I had that one marked down. I had all the musical numbers marked down. I was so excited to get to those. And I just wanted to do well for Chris and for everybody, because it was while we're filming, like, this is going great. This is going real. This shows things are going really well. And you want to just help, you know what I mean? So I'm really happy with how it all came out.
Yeah, well, your performance was really, really nuanced and really honest, and a departure from what you're known for. You know what I mean? You're known as like the funny, silly guy that's always going to bring a laugh to a scene and be able to like just turn any moment into hilarity. And for that scene to play so real and so honest and raw in that way was really like, everybody on the set was like, wow, this is good stuff. We're getting some great stuff.
It's even richer the second time around. I've seen the series twice, and when you know it's Jasper, you can focus on him. You see the wheels spinning in his head, and your performance of like, oh, is it going to be Brett? Okay, like, whew, okay, like, I hope that sticks.
Yeah, that was so fun to go back and watch Ben build that out.
Yeah.
Like, because we're all on our own path, trying to like keep track of everything and making sure you're hitting the things you need to hit as your character. And so during it, I missed a lot of things that then I was able to experience. And Ben is just such a skill, just so precise in the twists that he was laying for us along the way. And that was
This is so nice. This is such a nice thing. Chris and I did drop little hints and stuff and moments. I'd even be like, oh, this moment, if, and Chris is one of my favorite directors in the universe. I think Zoe will agree. It's to be directed by Chris is like a gift. It makes you a better actor. And also you're learning about every form of what it takes to make a show or whatever. But we would collaborate and be like, he'd be like, oh, this would be a moment where blank, or maybe, you know, you're in the shower, maybe you show both phones for just a couple of seconds, or like when the Private Eyes poster, when I realized as my character, oh my God, there's a camera in there. There's footage of me killing somebody, like us taking a couple takes to make sure we get the reaction for me realizing that I'm screwed, and then not letting Sam see that I'm screwed. It was great. And it feels like, you know, we're all collaborating. We all want to make each other better in every scene. You know, if Zoe's crushing it, I'm over the moon happy. And if we're creating something together, it's all that stuff makes me really happy. But it was really fun to drop these little things throughout, playing it as the killer. So you're exactly right. There's so many scenes I did where I'm like nervous, and then I exhale because, oh my God, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. And then like all of a sudden, no, or Tiffany's character scares me truly for a couple times. And you see that sometimes my comedy is just to hide the idea that I'm trying to make sure nobody thinks I'm the killer. So I like try to be funny or big sometimes for no reason. And,
yeah, I would be watching the episodes, you know, after the fact going, okay, Ben. All right, Ben. You know, it's a fun, it feels like a sport too, sort of, when you're watching it. Like you're really, I don't know. It was, yeah. It was so fun to be a part of, and then so fun to watch. And that has been a unique experience for me, because sometimes, well, most of the time I watch stuff I'm in, I'm just like, no. But because the plot is so rich, and because you get to dive into these different characters and worlds so fully, you know, it was one of the first times I was able to like check my own ego at the door and just kind of be enveloped by the whole thing.
Well, and Zoe, your character is so dimensional, and I think that's part of the reason why people thought something was up. But once we get to your episode, we kind of understand what's going on with Zoe, which I feel like makes her a really well-rounded character, really fascinating character with, you know, a dichotomy of what she wants and what she's feeling, and kind of makes it unique in that romantic comedy regard. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your episode, getting to express yourself through animation like that, and then really kind of digging into what's going on with Zoe on this night and how she's feeling about her life.
Yeah. Well, I really believe the thesis of that episode, which is like, I do believe we have many different versions of ourselves inside. And, you know, ideally we find a way to integrate them all so that they can all express themselves. But sometimes when they're not tended to or allowed to come out, they can rebel. And yeah, I've actually thought a lot about that episode since and in therapy I've even talked about it.
Oh.
I'm like, you know who's not being tended to into this? Wild Zoe. And I think that's what's happening here, Valerie. And
is her name Valerie?
Oh yeah, shout out to Valerie.
Love Valerie.
Tom Dig. But anyway, so it's also rare to get to play many different characters. And I had not done any animation really, but to get to also to be animated as myself in real, like that's wild. That feels like something most people don't get to experience in life. So I feel very lucky that I was you know.
And I will say that what was really remarkable was, for someone who hasn't done a bunch of animation voices, that you were able to create all these distinct characters where the tone of your voice that was you was a different person, and having conversations with yourself that in these different character voices that were all still sounded like you. The nuance and the range of it was really, really remarkable. It was a big thing to pull off, to ask someone to pull off, to be sort of have like a four-way conversation with themselves. And you did a remarkable job with it, I thought. And I think it was really fun to get to see, you know, the idea that nobody is just, you know, one simple thing that just has one set of wants and goals and needs. We're all complicated people that have a lot of competing things fighting itself out inside of ourselves, and sometimes some things win and others don't.
Totally. And it was really fun to I don't know, just to be given permission by Chris to like just go. I mean, he always was giving us permission, and it was that's one of the most beautiful things about him as a director and collaborator. He's just like, I believe in you. I hired you. I think you can do anything. And you're like, I don't know, Chris. I don't know if I can sing this song or share or, you know, like, and he's like, no, you will.
No.
And then you do, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Chris Miller helped me realize that I love voice acting, and I can sing a Cher song, and like, oh, and now we're dancing. And so it's also rare for a project to sort of ask so much of you. You know, you kind of are like, hey, you're hired for this specific thing, and do that thing. But I think Chris is like, you're hired and you have no idea what's in store for you.
Well, and Ben, I imagine there was a lot of arm twisting involved to embrace your inner pop star in your episode and sing.
Zero arm twisting, Adam Chitwood. Didn't even take a slight nudge for him to
You're
be
not
like,
at all known for singing and you know, one of those bars.
I did ask after I offered you the job if you could sing. It was sort of
or dance.
Or dance.
Can you sing or dance?
Oh, by the way, you can sing and dance, right? You're like, yeah. I mean,
Ben is one of my favorite dancers. Like, I've also got
Zoe.
No, I know.
You're one of my favorite voiceover artists.
Oh, stop. But it's true. Like, I've gotten to experience Ben out in the world too. And if a song comes by and he does a little something, he's got some spice. He's got some swag in there that it's delightful every time it comes out.
I mean, I think being he's a great comedian and uses his body physically for physical comedy. And I think having that control, you have to have absolute control over your person to be able to pull off physical comedy. And I think that's why, you know, like Dick Van Dyke, you remind me a little bit of Dick Van Dyke in the way that he can do.
I love that.
I know, he's very, and not surprising when he just shows up in Mary Poppins and does crazy like penguin dances and stuff, because he has mastery over his body.
It was really exciting also because I'd never done choreography before. Zoe Chao definitely has done choreography before. I've seen YouTube videos or Instagram videos. But so we had Kat Burns, who is a Crazy Ex-Girlfriend choreographer, and she was unbelievable. For me, it's you know, a little anxiety and nervous when I'm dancing around anybody, but to dance around people who know how to dance or to sing around people who really know to sing, that's terrifying. Because I'm never going to be nearly as good as any of these people. Like, I can't sing like anybody on Broadway, and I can't dance like anybody on Broadway. So it's like, but Kat was amazing, and Fiora Cutler, who was the vocal coach for my songs, amazing, and John, who wrote the lyrics with Jack and Chris and the writers. It's like, I couldn't have been. It was like as if I was padded with safety stuff all around me. So I could try, I could fail, I could fall, and I could be okay. And it was so fun. I had so much fun. It was very nerve-wracking. And then when I started to figure out that, I could pull this version of this off, then it got really fun. And the first thing we did before we filmed the show was to record a bunch of songs, so we could immediately get to filming the song. So it was like right to the races. I got hired, and then like a week and a half later, I was recording songs, I think. Right, Chris? Yeah,
it's really very, very early. I mean, we had all that stuff. Obviously, you can't do the choreography until you have the songs, and you can't, you know, shoot the scene until you have Ben's voice singing the song so that he can match his performance. And so all that stuff had to be done before we even started. And we were shooting, you know, 2 of the dance numbers, the songs in the gym, which was at the high school, which was the first location we were shooting at. So it was really early up on the schedule. So
during the height of COVID, with 50 people dancing, going, and we pulled it off. Also, testament to Chris Miller. I don't know how many, if any, music videos you had directed beforehand, but he had to direct like something that would have taken 2.5 days. He got half of a day, and that's all he had if he wanted to make his days. And so he directed these enormous, incredible things in such a little amount of time, and he made them look so cinematic, and he made all of us look so good. It's just how we're just very lucky. We were surrounded by everybody who's kind and talented and knew like how to get the job done. So we were very, very lucky. That's across the board of actors, crew, director, writers, producers. Right. We were very lucky
and generous. Yeah. Like how you were saying how like Zoe, even if it was a shot on you, would be giving you the full bore acting to react to, because some people would be like, here's an X on a C stand and you can look at that if you want to look at me. But the fact that everyone was so generous with each other and was helping lift each other up was really what made the whole thing really sparkle.
Well, 2 shots feels like a genuine music video with it's just a delight with you and Sam.
I wasn't there for any of that. So I was just like, doop, 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 and then Chris was like, take a look at this. And I was like on this phone and, it's just a rough of like what they had just shot. And I was like, what? I just turned around for a second and boom. And also it would be really cute to see Ben just like so tired in his chair.
Oh my God.
Like just so, this man has energy. And to see him like properly drained for the first time in his life, like I'm like, how you doing? And he's like, oh, doing it.
It is so hard to dance and sing.
It's grueling. You're dancing and singing and doing it all at the same time and performing the emotional meaning of the lyrics at the same time. You can't just like mouth the words without any intent behind it. It's a lot to have to like use all of those things at the same time, and you really did it.
We were on a night shoot once, and we were doing sorry, Adam Chitwood.
No, go ahead.
But we were on I apologize. I love saying your full name, by the way. It has to be said as like you're a detective. Detective Adam Chitwood. So there was a night where we were doing Yes Sure Whatever, and it was like a big like I'm dancing and singing whatever, and then we had a little bit of the night and the scene right after that was me with Dave Franco having the emotional scene in the last episode where I find out, right, Chris? Remember that? Yeah. It was like a real emotional scene. So I had just done this big singing, dancing, and it was late. It was really late. And then they go, okay, while we're here, we can get this little section here with Dave Franco. And I remember going right into that. Like it was just like whatever was next on the call sheet is what you got into. And it was so fun to keep switching, but also it's like because I was so tired, you're so emotionally raw. So it's like those scenes work even like it was so fun. Dave and I had so much fun in those scenes. It was a blast.
Yeah, you guys.
But I remember that day specifically.
That scene is a really important scene also for you and your, and the truth of your motives and everything. And I think the fact that you were so exhausted did lend into it, going like, don't you see how hard I've worked for this? And you're still not giving me my due. Yeah. It's really very easy to tap into that feeling. Like, I'm just so tired of this.
There was also just a moment where I looked across at our actor's chair and Ben is in his chair, wrapped up in a thing with hand warmer pouches resting on his sneakers, on his shoes. He was like trying to get and absolutely earnest about the whole thing. Just like, I'm doing what I can to get by. Sam also did a lot was asked of him physically and feel like he really gave it.
Well, I mean, a lot was asked of everybody because we're asking you to not just play your character, but play 8 different versions of yourself and have to find that different shading in each person's story so that it fits the way they see you and the genre of the type of story that they're telling. So not only were you just playing like 5 different versions of yourself in the animated thing, you're also playing like 7 other versions of yourself in everybody else's story. And that was what was so remarkable about what the whole cast was able to do, was able to sort of, not to do this weird exercise where you had to find the truth of who you were, but also then put a bunch of different spin on the ball and sometimes different ones in the same day while we were shooting different episodes of the same day.
Well, that's the thing is, and I wanted to underline that this was not shot episodically. So it's not like everyone could wrap their heads around, this week we're doing a romantic comedy, this week we're doing a thriller. You guys were having to switch on the day. It was almost like an episode of SNL, but on a cinematic
right.
scale.
Exactly. What am I doing? Oh yeah, now I'm doing. I guess I'm Rudy Giuliani now. Okay.
Yeah. Was that part of the draw for you guys? And I know we're almost out of time here, but I did want to ask about that challenge because you guys nailed it. Like as you watch it, it's all seamless, but knowing what as an actor you went through to get in the correct headspace for all of it, it all works so well.
I mean, it's a dream to get to be in like 8 little movies, because they were full, full things. And I think there were moments that were daunting because it's like, well, it's just cool when you leave a project and you're like, there are so many things I've never done before that I got to do in this project. And to really expand as a performer because of a story that asked you to do that, and that's rare. And it felt like a real gift to be a part of.
I agree with Zoe Chao Movie Star because for me, the idea of playing 8 different versions of something is so exciting. So what Zoe said before is so true. It's like oftentimes when you get to a job, you're like, all right, I'm this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to make everybody look good. I'm going to try to, make these scenes work. But this was like, okay, not only am I playing in a romantic, like I was so excited to play the best friend in a romantic comedy in that first episode because I loved Ducky when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I love John Cryer in that film. So I was like, I want to be like the best friend and I'm like cheering him on. And then also then there's like a film or there's like even in Genevieve's episode,
it's like the art house,
even that like
Indigo's art house thing.
Yeah, it was so fun even just to come up and be like, but I don't know where you know what I mean? And you're playing different genres, then you're playing different versions. Like, how does Anik see me at this moment? Or so it was so fun. You get to spread out and it takes very special actors. We were surrounded by very special actors to make it work. It was so fun and a challenge that everybody was down for.
Well, as we leave here, Chris, I know that you are in production on season 2. Is there anything you want to leave fans with as a little tease, as a taste? I know we know the cast and we know the setting.
We know the cast, we know the setting. It's at a wedding. I will say here's a piece of news that a lot of people have been speculating that it is Anik and Zoe's wedding, but it is not Anik and Zoe's
Whoa!
wedding.
Is it Jasper's wedding, maybe?
I'm not saying whether it is or it isn't, but
I haven't gotten the call sheet yet.
A Reddit thread is starting right now.
There we go.
You know what's cool is
a huge spoiler.
I have I don't know if you can see, but do you see all these are all the scripts lined out right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
The answers are in
there. The answers are therein.
By the way, I don't want to give it all away.
Excited about this year's mystery and all the crazy film styles that we're shooting in. And I think it's sort of building on what we did the first season and going into some crazy new places. We have Xavier's cereal here. Oh yeah, Xavier's.
Does it have a sweet, crunchy taste?
It's got a maze on the back, so for the kids.
It's crazy. Each one of these things is actually a little thing of ecstasy. It's just a box of drugs, I guess. I don't know.
Amazing.
I am very excited to watch the second season. I'm like thrilled to watch the second season. To not know anything what's going on and then just me watching as a fan. I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm a huge fan of Zoe and Sam, and the actors they got are so good. I am so excited to see what they do with the show.
Amazing. As am I. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. The show is incredible. You guys all did incredible work in it. Thanks to those who have been watching. Be the first to know about upcoming Wrap screenings. Get access to exclusive content, premium events by becoming a Wrap Pro member. Join now to take advantage of a free trial. And for all screening information, including past screenings you maybe have missed, please visit TheWrap.com. Thanks, everyone, so much.
Thank you, Adam Chitwood.
Thanks, Adam Chitwood.
The lamest private eye name in the world.